Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope all of you are doing good. So this is going to be the part 2 of my so-called experiment to replace the parts of my Nokia 9 Pureview, thereby answering one important question: can we salvage the Nokia 9 Pureview in 2023? Now a lot of the users out there still clinging on to the Nokia 9 Pureview have been trying to find a replacement for parts, especially the camera and battery, trying to salvage what they can so that the device perform as it was when it was new. Now to answer such a question, I eventually did that. In my first part of the video, I shared with you the parts that I purchased to replace. Predominantly I had issues with the battery, a poorer battery life, as well as the camera. One of the camera module was out of sync, thereby causing issues with imaging. Now in my experience of procuring the replacement parts as well as fixing it, I realized a couple of things which I'm going to share with you today. Now before we get into that, this is the Nokia 9 Pureview launched in 2019. This is only the second device in the world to have such a feature, because the first device, which was the Lite L16, was a camera device running on an Android platform, whereas this is basically a mobile device with Lite technology on the back. Now the Lite L16 was launched somewhere in 2017, heavily invested in computational photography, which is the reason why HMD Global probably wanted to try something new to bring the Pureview branding back on top, but unfortunately it did not go as it was intended. Now I can't blame HMD Global for taking an approach, but I would blame them to be so naive into trusting a company that could not even optimize their own product before collaborating with another third-party company. But have the Nokia 9 been successful in implementing such an arrangement of cameras, it will never be the only device to have such a setup, because the collaboration with Lite includes many other companies. The one with Nokia is basically an arrangement between Lite and Sony and HMD Global. So in a way, the failure of this setup means that this is the only such device in the world to have this kind of feature, which makes it interesting, because the Nokia 9 Pureview is one of the few devices in the world that retains its value much later. So the Nokia 9 Pureview, for many, it's probably a collection, probably for the joy of using the imaging system, and it means much more than just a simple mobile device. So a lot of people want to keep it as pristine as possible, including myself. But eventually one of my Nokia 9 Pureview, which is this particular device, has started to run out of juice, and this particular unit also had a camera issue which requires me to address it. Now in my attempt to do such thing, I've actually went to the net and searched for what I considered as probably a quality third-party parts, in the hope of recommending it for others. So in this video I'm going to show you the outcome of such, and you can make it up yourself whether or not it is even worth to consider such a project. So this is the Nokia 9 Pureview, launched in 2019. As you can see, pretty much is good. Now I've shared with you the initial battery that I've purchased for the replacement. Basically, it's a brand called Sabat. It's from China. And just to give you a quick overlook, the battery is the same one that I actually used for my Lumia 950 XL as a replacement, and it did a really good job. And for the Nokia 9 Pureview, just similar to the Lumia 950 XL, the battery is marketed as having a larger capacity than the original battery, but the dimension fits well. Now, what about the outcome of the battery itself? Is it reliable? Now, like for any other devices out there, you need a few days of calibrating the batteries in order to get the gist of whether or not it is a reliable replacement, and that is what has been happening. So I have been continuously charging and discharging my battery, but I did not get what I intend to get. So basically, at idle, it was draining at 3% per hour, which is actually pretty large, but maybe acceptable. But the moment I started to run apps, basically I can see the battery dropping by the minutes. So that is not acceptable at all. So in my final attempt, what I did was to do a soft reset, hoping that would actually solve it, because I do believe that this battery is a high quality battery, but it is not performing as such. Now for this particular thing, I would urge you to wait for my update in Twitter, which will be coming up in the next day or so, whether or not to purchase the battery, because I just did a soft reset, so I still need some time to monitor the outcome of it. As of now, these are just some basic statistics that you can see. As of now, I wouldn't recommend you to invest on this unless you totally have a defective original battery that you don't have any other choice. Then yes, you might want to try this out. But as I told you again, just wait for the Twitter update and I will tell you what to do next. Now, what about the camera then? So this is where the unfortunate hard truth hits. Now, just going to bring you a simple product here to show you what I mean. So you can see that it is not focusing at all. Now what happens here is that upon removing the rear cover, we found out that the camera module that I had issue with is the B camera, the center RGB camera. So we just did a replacement for that unit, and unfortunately that's when we realized the hard truth. Now the moment we replace the camera motor does not work at all, so it turned out to behave like a fixed focus camera rather than an autofocus one. As you can see, it doesn't actually focus. It only focuses at a distance about 20 centimeters from the camera. Anything further than that, it does not focus at all. And not only that, it does not send the information into the lux capacitor. So basically it does not take any photo at all. So I did reach out to Hikari on Twitter regarding this, and according to him, this device was meant not to have any of its parts replaced. So whatever the device comes with, especially the camera module, has to be accepted by the so-called onboard chip. So it has to be registered in such a way that it only comes out through the factory. In that way, there's no way of getting a third-party camera module to just replace as you need. It doesn't work that way because it would not be accepted by the chips inside, thereby rendering any form of intervention to the camera as useless. And I even thought of the idea of replacing the entire camera module as such, hoping that maybe replacing one might not be enough, but apparently that too is not the answer for this. So from a camera that was pretty much usable with a magnet, so for those of you who don't know, what I used to do with the camera motor issues was just to place a thin magnet over the camera area, thereby stabilizing the motor for the focus. And with that, I was able to take images, and that cost probably less than $1 to get a thin magnet to do such a thing. But with the much expensive investment of replacing the camera module, I have effectively rendered my device useless. So as you can see, nothing. Okay, basically this entire system is not registering any images now because the system doesn't accept the camera module that I've replaced, and it is even worse than before. So whether or not you can replace or should you replace the camera module, please don't do that unless you have found another way that you can so-called make the camera module to be accepted by the chip on board. But otherwise, if you aren't really sure, if you're new to this problem and you want to try to replace, please just forget the idea of replacing the camera module. Most of the reviews that you're going to read on these sites claiming that the camera modules are working are indeed fake reviews by the sellers themselves, so don't trust them. Now so that leaves us to the battery issue. Now as you can see, from the time I made this video, it has dropped about 3% here, which is actually pretty much a lot, and partly that could be because of its camera itself. So the camera, as we know, drains a lot of battery with each usage, but I'm still going to monitor it for a day without using the camera. If at all we can salvage any part of it, especially the battery, hopefully I could recommend you a good third-party battery for this. So for now, that's all the update. I would not recommend you to do this if the Nokia 9 Pureview is your only device, unless it is totally defective. Otherwise, just take care of the Nokia 9 device that you have with you, and hopefully they perform much better than the one that I have here right now. So with that said, that concludes my experiment with the Nokia 9 Pureview. I hope that this information that I'm sharing with you, so-called assist in or a guide to get a third-party parts open the eyes of others of how difficult the choices are to purchase the right parts, as well as to getting them work. So with that said, I hope all of you a very good weekend, and do take care.